Well, Happy New Year for those that have celebrated. 2024 is here, and also this is the year of chaos, if you want to put it bluntly. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be in this wonderful place we call Earth. My name is Jamie, and welcome to this episode. If you see the title, there has been massive censorship over the last few hours here on YouTube due to the Epstein document files that just been released. And just to start it off, I'm not going to deep dive into the full details of the document that has been released because there has been massive censorship. I was watching a news show on YouTube about 2 hours ago, and they only got into like 20 minutes of their show, and YouTube took it down. Now, people can say what they want now that the files has been released, but I want to state this. It's not a criminal case. This thing that's currently going on is a defamation case. And to my knowledge, for what I researched in and looked into it, there has been some serious allegations that's been mentioned in the documents. But when it comes to a defamation case, people can say whatever they choose to say, whether it's true or not. It's only a defamation case. Yes, there are serious allegations that maintain in the files, and that's what they all are. Allegations doesn't mean that the person or persons are indeed guilty of any wrongdoing. Therefore, in my honest opinion, there should be a full investigation if indeed those type of activities did occur. Names have been mentioned, like Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz, Prince Charles, Prince Andrew, and, drumroll, Donald J. Trump. Now, whether you like Donald Trump, support him, or you don't support him, his name's been mentioned. It may be a nothing bagger, it may be something more. But for what I have seen and for what I have read, it does open up to a full investigation, if indeed it goes down that path. Now, do I believe there will be a full investigation? Well, people in power get away with a lot of things. People with high paid jobs, money, greed, whatever you might call it, they get away with it. But I think the general public are a little bit more aware and a bit more awake of the in-between that goes on in the world. There are a lot of people that will say, yes, that did happen. Yes, that happened. But when you really get into the meat and potatoes of it all, it's only speculation. It's like having an opinion. We all have them. Everyone does. They're like arseholes. Everyone's got one. Now, if these activities, which we will call, due to YouTube, sexual assault, then the perpetrators should be brought to trial and have a due course investigation. But do we really think that's going to happen? No. Because the presidential election is coming up later this year. And now that Donald Trump has been mentioned. I can just say it now. The tabloids will start smearing Donald Trump because his name's been mentioned. Doesn't prove that he actually did anything, as we know, just by reading the documents. But can you just imagine, just put your thinking caps on, if something did indeed happen, what do you think will happen to Donald J. Trump? He's already under investigation and trials for other stuff due to political interference or whatever, fraud or whatever. But this is a whole different field altogether. There are serious allegations, and that's all they are, allegations. Names have been mentioned. Just like over the years, right here on Facebook and YouTube and whatever other social media, people will start to smear other people and accuse them of doing other serious situations, but they're not actually guilty of anything. All of these are just accusations. Now, will there be a counter defamation case comes out of this? Possibly. Who knows? That's like people here on YouTube do go to court and start filing defamation lawsuits of anyone that's slandered their name or falsely accused them of any wrongdoing without any proof of evidence. Just because some people will type up an article or do a show and do a slip of a tongue, you do held reliable and accountable for every actions that you take. So right now, you go right across YouTube right now that the Epstein document files has been released, if you do a deep dive in them, YouTube is taking them down, left, right, and center. Now, I understand there's other people on YouTube that won't turn a blind eye for it, and rightly so. You don't need to turn a blind eye. But what you do have to understand is if you do a deep dive and start putting your speculation into it, that's what it is, speculation. YouTube will take it down, and then you've got to be careful that you don't have a defamation lawsuit against you because you mentioned something, some person, without any proof whatsoever. And that's the problem when it comes to social media or the mainstream media in general. Most of the court cases, so to speak, have been, over numerous of years, been trialed by media. People have their own point of view. People will start to say guilty or not guilty. But you have to ask yourself a question. Are you an attorney? Are you a prosecutor? Are you the jury? Or more importantly, are you the judge that makes the decision whether that person is guilty or not? Do you hold a position or credentials that you actually can find a person guilty in a court of law? Do you run a courthouse or courtroom? And that's what the problem in this world is, has been for a long time. That's been trial by media, trial by social media, trial by anything really, trial by fire. And I understand people will say, well, we've got to fight fire with fire. But why would you want to do that? If you want to have people held accountable for their own actions, why would you want to fight fire with fire? Like, these people, if it indeed did happen, people should be held accountable and brought to justice. But we know how the legal system works. They're frauded. And no one will get held accountable. Just because names have been mentioned, and it's only accusations, that's what it is, accusations. Do you really think people will be held accountable for their actions? We can do shows till the cows come home. That doesn't prove anything. There can be news bulletin articles. There can be social media articles. They can do podcasts. They can do all that. I think the general public knows what really goes on, but on the flip side of all that, is anything going to come out of it? I certainly don't think so. I think this is a way to derail the political campaign, so to speak. Both the Democrats and the Republicans, because Bill Clinton's name's been mentioned and so did Donald J. Trump been mentioned. Do you really think people will have enough faith in their local government or federal government, so to speak, to go and vote later this year? My honest opinion, I think this whole thing is a mess that simply needs to change. Or what is the solution here? How things going to change? Do you wipe the slate clean, bring in a new set of people and start from the ground up? Or do you re-elect a former president that got some dark clouds over his head? Who do you pick? Now, I don't expect anyone to have a magic wand and go abracadabra and make it all disappear. Not going to disappear. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of serious things to happen. But with this document file that's been released, it just put a big focus, and more importantly, it could be a distraction because something around the corner will come up and take the whole focus off it, as they always do. Now, we're only in the 4th day of the new year. It's January the 4th here in Australia. The 4th day of the new year. And we're already saying chaos happened. But you ain't seen nothing yet, as they say. As they say. Now, depends what side of the fence you want to sit on. Depends what political path you may follow, whether it's the left, right, or in between. Nothing changes when nothing changes. And now that YouTube is censoring creators from even talking about it in detail, just like YouTube did over the COVID period. If you mention vaccinations or lockdowns or blah, 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 you get, hey, I had 4 channels taken down. Most people had multiple channels taken down if you want to get the narrative that they believe. If you mention 9/11 as an inside job, take this channel down. If you mention Sandy Hook, channel taken down. Well, the new one is if you mention these new documents and you start saying this one, that one is guilty, instantaneously, YouTube taken down. No warning, automatically taken down. So, here's what I will say. If you want to talk about it in full length, go ahead. Do that. But knowing full well that YouTube will have the power to now you may disagree with these YouTube guidelines. You can disagree with it you like. I do too. But I think really there needs to be a little bit more transparency in the fact that we all have opinion, we all have a speculation on the situation. Doesn't mean a person is guilty or not. We don't really know. All it is just speculations, there's accusations, and people will favor one or the other, whether they're guilty or not. Did it happen or did it happen? Just like some people will start accusing other people being pedos or the R word. You get my grief. A lot of people get accused of shit. Could it be that we just try just for a little moment, just to get on with life? Just try it and see what happens. Or do you believe that the damage you've already done, there's no coming back, there's no hope? I know a lot of people lost a lot of trust in people, me included. But you get my point. No matter what goes around our lives or the world or whatever, there's always something going on. And people will take a snapshot, where it's a minute or two, and not actually seeing the full picture, so to speak, and just point out their own opinion on what they see or what they read. My honest opinion with these Epstein documents, yeah, there's a lot of information in it. But because it's a defamation case that's currently going on for these documents to be released, the person who made the accusation, because it's a defamation case, whether it is true or not, in the document, they can say whatever they can. We've seen so many other defamation cases around the world that the person who made the statement can lie. Can lie. How many people here on YouTube have lied about another person of a form of action that they don't like? And that person may or may not have done that action. I bet you there's a lot of people out here on YouTube land that's been accused of shit they didn't do. And I'm talking a lot of shit. And quite frankly, it's still going on. It is still going on. But what do? Do you take the measure to hold that person accountable? Well, how do you do that? Well, do you take them to court? Do you file a counter defamation lawsuit against the person that defamed you, slandered you, accused you of false allegations? Do you take them to court? Or do you do what people do on YouTube, that do a video response towards the allegations, calling them all the names under the sun? What do? You keep making videos about someone said this or someone done that? Or do you take it upon yourself and take them to court? Now, I understand people don't have a lot of money. Court cases cost money. But what do? Now, let's just paint a picture, shall we? Let's say that one of these accusers that's been accused of serious activity in the Epstein document that's just been released. Can you just imagine those that's been accused start to file a defamation lawsuit against the person that accused them of doing the activity? You will see this all being, one, smoke and mirrors, or two, a big clusterfuck of back and forth. I truly believe nothing is going to be solved, whether the person is guilty or not guilty. As far as I saw, as far as I have read, they're allegations. And that's what they are, allegations. doesn't mean the person is guilty of anything. Just because you've been accused of something doesn't mean you've actually done the activity. That's why there's a thing in the legal system, the accused or the accusers, plural. Doesn't mean the person is guilty. They have to go through a due process, if indeed there is one. But social media, mainstream media, there's a term out there that's been around for a long, long time. Trial by media. We voice our opinion when we say you're guilty or you're not guilty. But what position of power do we have to say that? We don't have a law degree. We don't have a robe like a judge does. We're not the jury. And many people will say, we didn't sign up for this shit. No, we didn't. But we live in this world where it's a lot of craziness going on. But there's questions that need to be asked. Yes, there is questions, but it still doesn't mean the person did it or not. And the answers that you may be seeking may not be the answers that you want to hear. There's a lot of shady stuff goes on in this world. Yes, I do truly believe that. There's a lot of evil in this world. There's a lot of criminal activity. You name it. However, it still doesn't mean the person is guilty unless they go through a due process, unless there's a full investigation. I'm talking about a thorough, full investigation from top to bottom. Until there is one, yes, and I will say, it opens the door for speculation. People will speculate that person is guilty, that person is not guilty, that person did this, that person done that. It's a form of opinion. That's all it is. And due to that form of opinion, there is censorship. Right now. Now that the files have been, or the document's been released, right? It's not a criminal file. Not a criminal file. Just people saying this, that person was there and that I saw this and this person done this to me. Yeah? And they're serious allegations. Serious allegations. But people will choose to believe what they want to believe, and people will choose what they do not want to believe. Your choice. But if there is censorship going on about these Epstein documents right now, imagine what 2024 going to steamroll when it comes to the presidential election. It's chaos. 2024 is the year of chaos. We're only in day 4 of the new year. Day 4. And this thing's already happened. It's like a person had 2 big gallons of gasoline and put it on the bonfire and just walked away after striking a match. And yeah. And people going on to say, what do you expect to happen? Well, yeah, what do you expect to happen? Here's my point. I truly believe that these Epstein documents that people have been waiting to see still doesn't prove anything, really. No surprises. However, I still believe that these Epstein documents that just been released earlier tonight is a distraction for something else to come. Something around the corner is about to unfold to take the focus off this Epstein file. Just like the Epstein file, it's it's a distraction to take the focus off all the other stuff that's been currently going on, like the earthquakes in Japan, like the southern border migrant crisis in America, just like taking Donald Trump off the ballot. It's a distraction. That was the talk before New Year. Donald J. Trump be taken off the ballot in Maine. California is in the process of taking Donald J. Trump off the ballot in California. Blah, blah, blah. It's a distraction. Something around the corner is going to happen to take the focus off that problem and focus on this problem. And then that problem will get taken over by the next one. And that problem will get taken over by the next one. What do people think is going to happen? Yeah, there's going to be headlines now that Donald J. Trump's name's been mentioned in Epstein documents. And you guess what? They're going to run with that right the way through to the general election. If it gets that far, they're just going to run with that. Even though it didn't say he actually did anything. Just pointed out this. Just because his name has been mentioned in these documents doesn't mean he did anything. Therefore, if they really want to have a full investigation, yeah, if Donald Trump's name's involved, bring him along, full investigation. And if he actually did do something, yeah, lock him up. That's where Vinny says this. People on YouTube, Dwayne Trump Perry still doing the same old bullshit with New Callum Pathetic. That is all, yep. I've got Carlson doing the best I can see, he says, and hope you do well. But these Epstein files, or documents, you want to call them, they are documents. It's a nothing gagger. Does it really surprise anyone? Who was going on the flight? Who was going to the island? Whether they did anything or not, there's still a court of law. There's still a process. But whether they do go through the process, who knows? Whether they do or not. And here's the thing. I truly believe those documents are a distraction for something around the corner. Yeah, it's a serious thing to talk about. But you go into a deep dive about it, YouTube will censor it. If you want to do it, do it. I'm not stopping people from talking about the Epstein files if you really want a deep dive on it. However, be aware if you do a deep dive and you start mentioning names and start speculating what you think may or may not happen, be aware that YouTube will take it down. That's why I say I think this whole thing is just a distraction for something around the corner. Whatever that may or may not be, I don't know, but it'll be something. Something around the corner is going to happen, and there's going to be a public unrest, one way or form. People on the right will start doing something. People on the left will do something. And the people in between will say, fuck this shit. I'm not doing anything. I'll just put it out there. And I'll ask one question. What do you believe? Now that these documents been released, what do you believe? And take in consideration, no one's been found guilty of anything. No one's been found guilty of anything. But what do you believe? Because, after all, it's just a speculation. Great smoke screen for the late, great USA to take the eyes off to how bad things really are. Just look at the southern border crisis. Thousands upon thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, are crossing the southern border illegally. Illegally. And they're doing absolutely sweet fuck all about it. There's a Catholic charity down in Texas that put these immigrants in and send them on buses and planes all around the fucking America. And yet a veteran who actually served the country don't get any treatment whatsoever. Look what California just did. They put a bill in just before New Year that non-vetted migrants can get health care in California. Well, what about the health care for the general population of the great USFA, if you want to say? What about the people who actually live in America, who are actually citizens of America, who don't get health care? But California say, oh, anyone that crosses the border illegally, we'll give you health care. How about that? Oh, we also might actually give you a house. We'll kick the other tenants out of the house. We will put you in that house. We will give you a surplus type of money, and you can do whatever you want. Thanks for coming to America. And yet, people think this is okay. Australia's been getting what we like illegal immigrants too over the years, and they've been called boat people. There'll be boats that will come from Indonesia and Southeast Asia illegally coming into our waters, boats of illegal immigrants, or the Australian government will call them refugees, and put them into migrant detention centres right across Australia. Matter of fact, there's a migrant detention centre about 6 hours drive north from where I am. Up in a place called Woomera. If you go from Adelaide, you go to Port Augusta, you head north to Port Augusta, another hour and a half of Port Augusta. Woomera Detention Centre. It's an immigration detention centre. On military grounds, mind you. Military grounds. We have illegal immigrants coming to Australia too, and we've been having that for freaking years. Years. And you can say that Australia has become more of a multicultural country. Yes, there's a lot of multiculturalism here in Australia, just like it is in America, just like it does in the UK. Hey, did anyone see the UK New Year's Eve celebration? On the actual bridge, I think it's the bridge, or it could be the Big Ben. Everyone is welcome. That was their slogan when the midnight of New Year's Eve struck in England. Everyone is welcome. Let's start thinking about that for a second. That means if you're an illegal immigrant who don't have the right papers, who hasn't been properly vetted and gone through the right procedures to enter a foreign country, the UK Parliament, everyone is welcome. What does that say about the world? What about the people that live on true principles of what their country was founded upon? those true principles no longer exist. The reason why you probably won't get in, Vinny, is because you've got a criminal record. Just like Canada won't let people in if you have a DUI. You won't get into Canada for 10 years if you have a DUI. And it doesn't matter how big or small the criminal record may be, you won't get into certain countries. Right. Chinese, the Chinese are okay, but that's because they run by a diplomatic, demonic system anyway. You know? But this is what I'm saying. We've got all these other situations in the world, and now that the Epstein documents have just been released, take the focus of, okay, we've got illegal immigrants cross from the border. I don't know, we'll just throw a smoke bomb into the fire and let's say this. Oh, Epstein. Now, I bet you any money tomorrow morning when you wake up, news headline, Donald J. Trump been mentioned in Epstein case, and they're going to run with it, even though he didn't actually do anything according to the documents. Now, I don't support anyone in the political field, anyone, because in my opinion, they're all as bad as the next person. That's just me. But I know there's people out there that love Donald Trump or love JK or like Vivek Ramaswamy or the DeSantis. Hey, there's even people that like, yes, Joe Biden. But the point, does it really matter? Does it really matter who you support when all this evilness is currently going on around us? Does it really matter who you truly support? Because, quite frankly, a lot of people out there that work hard, pay their rent, pay their dues, are still getting up the backside by their government, whether it's the left, right, or in between. The more money you make, the more they want to take out of you. So what? Nothing is going to change the fact that, oh yeah, those documents just been released. Okay, but they're only accusations. My question is, do you believe it or you don't believe it? Do you believe that person, like Donald J. Trump, is guilty because his name's been mentioned? Do you believe that Bill Clinton's name, because his name's been mentioned, if he's guilty? Alan Dershowitz, is he guilty because his name's been mentioned? If you do, it's only speculation. It doesn't actually state in the court of law that that person actually did it. That person did it. This is only document of a defamation. Compassion, dude. This channel has definitely changed for the better. For the better. Of course, it changed for the better. You don't have to be here if you don't want to be. You choose to click on it. Not me. So, Vinny, do you believe that this actually happened? Anyone? That's a question. Do you believe, according to the documents, do you believe it actually happened? The taking consideration that whatever you base your opinion on. It's only speculation. You're only speculating that it did. There's no actual proof. So to speak, there's no actual proof. Just like someone can accuse you of doing shit. Does it actually prove it that you actually did it? Oh, but people can lie about it. Of course they can. But you have to ask yourself a question. If you've got serious allegation towards yourself, you have a right to defend yourself. Yeah? How would you go about it? Knowing full well that you did nothing wrong. How would you go about it? Will you take the person that accused you to court, or will you make videos about them, like many people currently still doing? Or would you take it upon yourself to cause serious harm, like people do? Just put an end to the situation. And then you get into more shit because you did that. But what would you do? If you've been seriously accused, what would you do? That person touched me inappropriately. That person looked at me inappropriately. That person said something inappropriately. Well, what would you do? Of course, it's nothing new. I said it, if you've been paying attention, I said this is just a distraction. Something around the corner is coming. Of course, it's nothing new. Same old thing. Of course it is. Something around the corner is going to happen. It's a distraction. Everything is a distraction. I know certain people that've been dying for these documents to come. Well, they're here. Now you can't talk about it. The documents are here. But on the flip side, it still doesn't prove that the person actually did it or not. That's the thing. It still doesn't prove anything. Just because names been mentioned. Ooh. But I can tell you tomorrow morning, the tabloids will say Donald J. Trump, Epstein Island. His name was mentioned. Whoopie-doo-dah. Did he actually do anything? Yeah. The flight record doesn't really mean anybody actually did anything, though. That would be like if you caught a plane, let's say that you went on a Delta Airlines, and Delta Airlines released all the passengers that went on Delta Airlines. Big fucking whoop. You probably went to a new city. Doesn't mean you actually did anything criminal. Just because you caught a plane doesn't mean you actually did anything. Oh, but he's a associate. How do you know that? How do you know that it's an associate? Oh, because his name's been mentioned. So, did he or she actually did anything? If people want to open up the whole can of worms, we'll go for it. Yeah, have a good night. People will do what they will believe, and people will decide to run with it. Quite frankly, this is nothing new. A distraction from the late great US. Yeah, it is. It's everything is a distraction. You got the hell. Next week, or is it next week or the week after? You have a GOP debate in Iowa between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. Does anyone really care about that debate? That GOP? They're not going to be president. They're not going to be president, but people are looking forward to it. Why? Nikki Haley comes from the UN. She's a warmonger. But there's nothing to say here, folks. Of course there isn't. Not until you take your glasses off, you might have to start saying some shit. But nothing changes. Of course they don't. Nothing changes. We have to make a change for ourselves on an individual basis, for our family, for our loved ones. You know, people want to go out there and try and save the world. Well, good luck to that. Good luck. We have to make a change for ourselves, whatever that may be. Start building our own community. But people will do what they want to do. You can do that. But nothing is new. People will believe what they want to believe. I'm just here to say is that you want to really go into a deep dive, be prepared to be censored from YouTube. They want to control the narrative, not me. But you do have to ask yourself a question. Did it really happen? Did it really, really happen? You can say it did, but it still doesn't prove it did. Yeah, there's a lot of evilness in the world. Yeah. Sexual abuse do happen. But what does it prove? Oh, it proves that they're evil. Well, maybe they always have been evil. You just haven't realised it yet. But what will you do? This is a serious question. What will you do if you had those type of serious allegations towards you, made towards you? What will you do? Knowing full well that you didn't do anything. You just went to a party. Or you thought you went to a vacation. That someone made an allegation against you. What will you do? Serious time, folks, for serious matters. Something around the corner is about to come, and get your popcorn ready. It ain't over till it's over, and quite frankly, I don't think it will ever be over. Something around the corner is going to unfold to take the focus off the documents, and people will be banging their heads going, why? Because it's a distraction. Everything. It's like a form of stimulation, like a virtual reality. Everything is a play. Well, should I say everything is a stage? There's certain actor or actresses that's on that stage. It's up to you if you want to pay the ticket to watch the event. What's the main event, so to speak? Get it now on pay per view. It's up to you. It's up to you. But watch it unfold. Something around the corner is about to happen, And it was to take the distraction and the focus of the Epstein documents to a new thing. But I bet you bottom dollar tomorrow headlines in the news articles, Donald J. Trump mentioned an Epstein file. So they can run and smear him. I'll leave you with that note. Have a good night and look after yourself. See you when we see you.